In this video, we're going to talk about Lewis structures, and we'll learn how to draw Lewis structures for elements. So, valence electrons are the electrons in the outermost orbit of a element, and group 1 elements have 1 electron, group 2 elements have 2 electrons, and the trend continues, so group 3 would have 3 and so on. And then all the way up to group 18, they have 8, group 17 have 7, group 16 have 6, group 15 have 5, group 14 have 4, group 13 have 3, and so on. Unlike Bohr diagrams, Lewis structures only show the valence electrons. If you remember Bohr diagrams, you had to draw all the electrons in all the orbits, so it was a little bit tedious and unwieldy to do. So in a Lewis structure, valence electrons are placed singly around the atom until all 4 placeholders are filled, and you'll see this in our examples. And then after you've filled all 4 placeholders, you can start doubling up. So our first example we're going to practice with is sodium. So the first thing you need to do is find out, okay, where does sodium fit on the periodic table? And you'll notice that sodium is in group 1. So if you remember, group 1 elements have 1 valence electron. So it doesn't really matter which quadrant you place it in, you just need to draw 1 electron. So there's our Lewis structure for sodium. Our second example is magnesium. So again, look up magnesium on the periodic table. And if you find it, you'll discover that magnesium is in the second group. So magnesium has 2 electrons. So if you remember, we can't double them up, so we need to place one maybe here and another one over here, and there's our Lewis structure for magnesium. Our third example, we have oxygen. So if you look up oxygen, you'll find out that it's in group 16, so it has 6 electrons in its valence. So remember, we place them singly first, so we'll do 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we start doubling up, so 5, 6. So there's 2 spots where the electrons are alone and 2 spots where they're paired up. So we can practice with a few other elements. We do our first one is chlorine. If you look up chlorine, again, it's a halogen, so it's in group 17, so it will have 7 valence electrons. So we just start placing those electrons. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And there's the Lewis structure for chlorine. If you look up nitrogen, it's in group 15, so we're going to place 5 electrons. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you look up neon, it's a noble gas, so it has 8 electrons in its valence. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. If we threw in an extra one just as a challenge, we can put down helium. Now helium is a noble gas. We say that noble gases have 8 electrons in their valence shell, but if you remember, helium only has 2 electrons total, so you can't put 8. So helium, it only has 1 valence ring, and only 2 electrons fit in that valence ring. So if you were drawing the Lewis structure for helium, you actually would pair up your 2 electrons. But that's kind of a trick element and an exception to our rule.